And hi again, wrestling fans, and welcome to what we hope will be another riveting edition of AIWF Ringside Wrestling. If it's not, you can use it as white noise to play next to your pillow to help you sleep better at night. Either way, we are here to serve your needs. And good to have you with us. I'm Mad Matt Carter, being joined as always by Hall of Famers Brian and Reagan Danzig, and Hall of Famer Stephen Hayes has been able to return this week. We're always glad to have his historical perspective and analysis. And boy, have we got some interesting things to go over with you tonight. First and foremost, how is everybody doing this week?
Absolutely wonderful. I'm alive and dry.
Yeah. It's the little, like you said, the little things in life that you realize are important right now. So, so good. You know, I know that a lot of our fans, from what I've been seeing online, or some of them are still without power up there in the Galax, Ivanhoe, Hillsville, I guess, area up there. So hopefully everything will get back to normal soon for them.
I'll talk to you guys about this, and I'll go on record. I don't mind saying it. I was ignorant to the fact that a hurricane could negatively impact the high country, because I always just pictured the water. Hey, it rains, the water flows downhill, and nobody in the mountains knows any different. Oh, okay, the river's up for a couple of days. Not a big deal. It won't flood because everything's going downhill. Evidently, that's not the case when a slow-moving tropical storm decides to park over you for, about 7 or 8 hours. So lucky it didn't stall longer, I guess. It did keep moving, is my understanding. Is that right? Did it kind of move out after 6 or 7 hours?
I think so.
I'd say about 3 o'clock on 4 o'clock on Friday, we were clear. It just getting the residuals after the fact. So
I got you. Well, and the Big Boss Man has joined us. Hall of Famer Rick Diesel is here with us as well. Not out doing food truck stuff tonight, so glad to have you here, sir.
Hey, Matt. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
What up, Boss Man?
I'm sorry, Reagan. Something about your unenthusiastic manner right there tickled me for some reason. Can I just say this? If anybody, has anybody seen the video of me giving the award, the Hall of Fame plaque to Charles Rourke yet? Has anybody watched it? What an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Charles was a complete asshole during that interview, and then thanked us for giving him an award because nobody else would give him one. And I'm starting to understand why. But let me also say this, after being I was just like standing there thinking, okay. And Jonathan is running the Star News cam. Jinky is filming for us. Right. And so I'm watching Jonathan's face, and he's rolling his eyes and shaking his head during that whole thing. And so when I asked Charles, are you going for a Peabody? No, maybe an Emmy like that. And he goes, no, I'm going for a Pulitzer. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were a writer. And he goes, oh, is that what that's for? So, I mean, I kind of felt like I won the battle of wits at that point. So,
you saw how he was dressed. I mean,
oh, he dresses like that every day.
Well, I'm saying that's what I'm saying is like, you're not I don't know how to put it. Like the outfit goes with the attitude. So, or the attitude goes with the outfit. I don't know which one you would say.
He's always afraid for some reason that either me and especially I think Rick Diesel doing an interview with him would embarrass him, that he tries to take the aggressive upper hand and keep us off kilter when that's not at least my MO.
I don't understand. I don't understand how Rick Diesel could embarrass him after a giant wooden cock coming down the middle of the road.
You ain't gonna stop that ever.
No,
there's no topping that.
No
topping that. It lives in folklore history like that. I could say, how can you guys put a woman on TV that's carrying a giant wooden cock in her hand to Mark Childry to this day, and he will start laughing hysterically? I mean, that kind of stuff sticks with people.
Yeah. I ain't never laughed so hard in my life. I ain't even gonna lie about it.
That's right. You were standing there when that happened, weren't you?
Yeah. I had to walk away
up to the side. I remember that.
Yeah. I was behind the camera, and that was my face that day.
Yeah.
Oh, mercy. So
I don't know. I think Charles is always, he's a hard dude to read. You know what I'm saying? and he's always been a little arrogant. I don't know. I always got along with him pretty good.
I get along with him just fine too, but I'll call him an asshole. I've called him an asshole to his face more than a dozen times, I'm sure, at this point. So,
Just, you're gonna say
that's probably on the low end of most people calling him.
Yeah, and here's the thing: when I worked for him too, and he paid me, well to do those football games back in 07. But no, I got family stuff going on back home, and like I went to do that interview, like, okay, I can do this while I'm up here handling family business. Let me run by and get this, because I wanted to get it done. And then during it when it was going on, I was just kind of reacting like normal. And then afterwards, when I started home, I was just like, wait a minute. He was a complete douchebag during that interview, And so like, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just the way I felt. And so I figured I had a microphone now and I would just say, Charles,
Hey, turn this one off.
Yeah, love you, Charles. But you were an asshole at night. So yeah. Anyway, I've vented now. So
best of this comes early with the airing of the grievances.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll have another chance to embarrass him on live TV one day, I'm sure, and I will take advantage of that opportunity. So, but anyway, we got some big things coming up for the month of October, starting with this coming Saturday night. So let me get you guys a screenshot up here if I can get my act together, and you should be able to see the slideshow here shortly, if not now.
Yep.
All right. So here we go. It's the Road to Fright Night. Takes this place this Saturday. Can you believe it's already October? My goodness.
I don't know. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, football's in full swing. We're getting into the autumn holidays. And it won't be long before we'll be hanging our stockings by the chimney with care. But before we get to that, we got to get to the Road to Fright Night. And that's coming up, of course, as I said, this Saturday, October the 5th at Veterans Park. Tickets are $9 for the floor, $6 for the bleachers. The bell time is at 7:30 p.m. And I see Cam Jackson on there. I see Aaron Wilson, Jeff Paul, Con Kelly making his return, Kay Holiday, our man in the street. Jackson,
good job.
Jackson Sane, Matt
Tommy
Anderson.
Okami.
Huh?
Tommy Okami.
Is that the guy down there in the bottom row making
in the
the heart
red?
sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Has he wrestled with us before?
He was at the fair show for his debut was Friday night at the fair show.
Yeah. Reagan seeing the thing that caused that brain damage coming at her at the chair show.
Hey, after that, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's see here. So Joe Harrison, Buddy Flowers, my hero. Oh man, this will be Buddy's first appearance since his heroic performance, although it be at a loss at Deal with the Steel. I don't think I was the only person in the crowd that was afraid Buddy might die in that match, but boy, he was going to go down swinging if he did. What a tough bastard. We've looked at one of those segments on this program, and the others will be coming to YouTube very soon. And man, but yeah, Buddy's my new Mid Atlantic hero for the time being. Just what guts. Would you guys like to comment on that a little bit, Buddy's?
Yeah, I mean, he, with gauntlet style matches like that, I mean, it's just, you have to, you just don't know what's going to happen. And you usually, don't see people get as far and take such a beating as he did. It was very surprising that he was able to last so long. I know he had the leg injury. They'd really, done one over on his leg, and, I don't know where he's got, I don't know. I was going to say balls of steel, but I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, if you weren't there for that one, when it comes up on the network, you should definitely give it a look. So
yeah, historic performance. See Ty Tyson and Mickey Fulp also on the poster. Has anybody got any other thoughts about Buddy before we move on?
I just want to. Buddy's one of those guys that, the fans love him. He connects with them. The kids love him, and and when he first walks out, your first instinct is to not take him seriously, but that goes to his advantage. But yeah, inside of him is a heart of a champion, and you make a big mistake anytime you underestimate Buddy Flowers.
You said that much more eloquently than I did.
Rick Diesel, any thoughts
yeah, AKA he's got balls of steel.
So it's amazing he can fly off the ropes as easily as he does. You'd think that weigh him down. Rick Diesel, any thoughts or comments on Buddy Flowers?
No. Oh. But I will say that he's not on the poster, but Kevin Phoenix will be there Saturday too. And with deal with the still only 3 weeks. I mean, Fright Night only 3 weeks away. I personally will have some announcements to make.
All right. Well, with the news that Kevin Phoenix is going to be there, I'm going to go ahead and issue you fans a front pocket wallet alert. So go ahead when you show up to the show and put your wallet in your front pocket for extra safekeeping, especially if Kevin Phoenix is anywhere close by. I'm just kidding. I can't really see your faces.
I was like, do that because you don't want to.
How that was going to get over or not. Like, wait, are you saying that Kevin Phoenix is going to lift people's wallets? Look, this is the same guy who accused the gingerbread man at Tweetsy Christmas of being a pickpocket one time. So, and the other staff thought that was pretty funny. It's like, yeah, you better watch him. Mickey Fulp's going to be there. It'll be interesting to see if there's any blowback from what happened between him and Seth Clayton Burns at the last show. Mickey pile drove Seth, and I thought he'd crippled him, but thank God he didn't. Seth was walking around the fair shooting videos for Facebook, so that was good. But Rick Diesel, I got to feel like there's going to be some kind of – anytime we've seen somebody get one over on Seth Burns, they usually don't last on that high very long before he comes back with some payback. He's quite the vindictive man.
Yes. Seth is, and it has not shown yet, but it was taped at our early September show. And Seth, as many people may or may not know, is my new personal assistant. So he's on Team Diesel now. He works for me.
He also thinks he's the boss.
Kind of like it, kind of is, you know.
Well. Yeah. You know, I give him a little leeway because he's a pretty decent businessman, and he's got a good personality for it. So he has talked to me about the Mickey Fulp situation, and I am sure that he has something planned for Saturday night for Mickey for whatever reason. It's hard to say with Seth. You know, he could offer him more money just to hang out with him again. You never know. But Seth don't take stuff like that laying down. So
yeah, I'm afraid. I am really afraid that Mickey might leave this Saturday night, wishing he would have finished the job with Seth Clayton Burns. So, but you know what I thought was odd about this, Brian? You were at ringside. You can tell me what you think. When that all happened, like, you know, wasn't it Mason Matthews that came to ringside and he didn't immediately attack Mickey Fulp? And I thought that was just kind of odd. It's like he's kind of like Mason maybe felt like I'm stuck in the middle here. I like both these guys. What did you think?
Well, from what I'm seeing is that Seth Burns is a businessman, and Mickey Fulp has insulted him and humiliated him, but at the same time, he still owns Mickey's contract, and he still has a vested interest in the career of Mickey Fulp. So he has to walk this line of he has to put Mickey back in line and have him start listening to him again, but not take it too far and hurt his investment. So he has to walk this fine line of trying to control his talent without going too far and completely ruining his investment.
Like having a classic car, you really only need to drive it when the sun's shining.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting analogy. Oh, okay. So that's coming up this weekend, Saturday, October 5th. Join us at 7:30 at Veterans Park. It's going to be exciting, and this will be the last show before we head to Fright Night. And I'm sure if we have any match announcements that are coming out, you will see those on our social media platforms as we lead up to the show this week. And don't forget about the big one. Oh yeah, it's Halloween weekend. It's Saturday, October 26th. The Monsters of the Mid Atlantic, we're calling it. It's this year's Fright Night, the 2024 edition. So if anybody wants to do any fast math, the first one was in 1997. So this will be the what anniversary?
Wait, 27th, 26th. Damn.
You're close.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know.
2024 subtract 1997. 27 years. That's right.
All right. So the 27th anniversary of Fright Night, and
I was under the impression there would be no math in this podcast.
Yeah, well, that's why it's funny.
Leave the mental math to the third grade teacher. So
yeah, I got a joke, but it probably come off racist. So I'm just
bring the house down with the mental math comment.
Matt froze for a second.
Huh?
Matt froze up for a second there.
It's probably good because I'm not going to say it again. All right. Anyway, Monsters of the Mid Atlantic comes your way Saturday, October 26th. And for those of you that are race fans, this does not conflict with Martinsville Speedway race weekend this year. Thank God. Thank God. At least
or the Lexington Barbecue Festival.
Do what?
I think a lot of times there's a barbecue festival in Lexington or something that used to fall on, wasn't it?
That usually conflicts with the Charlotte October race. That at least since I moved down here. Yeah, I hate that because I've been wanting to go to that festival, and it's like, well, I've already paid several $100s for these race tickets or barbecue. Sorry, not a hard decision to make at that point. So, but anyway, so yeah, it's Saturday, October 26th, so the weekend before Halloween. I don't know if there's going to be any type candy give outs or anything like that. We'll deal with that as we get closer, I'm sure, if there's any other announcements. But man, looking forward to Fright Night. It's always one of the most fun shows of the year, at least in my experience. It's just I don't know, like since the beginning. Brian, you were there at the first one. Rick Diesel, you were at the first one. Stephen Hayes, Reagan, you guys have been there for the bulk of them. It's just, I don't know. There's something magical in the air when we do Fright Night. It's just anything can happen, and anything weird that happens usually happens at Fright Night, you know.
Well, there should be at least two major match announcements for Fright Night that I will make this Saturday at Veterans Park. At
least two.
Two.
That's freaking awesome.
And these are interesting matches.
Yeah. I'll say.
The thing I like about Fright Night in particular is in the way we do it. It's not just a show around Halloween. It's actually a Halloween themed show. You know, the matches for as much as we can Halloween themed. We do the Halloween contest for the kids, and we decorate it. We decorate for Halloween. So it's truly a wrestling event and a Halloween event at the same time.
Yes.
Yep. And you'll get if there's a break in the action, you always get to hear my rant about how I think the churches and their trunk or treat have ruined Halloween traditional trick or treating.
I think I wish we could put up the video of that 98 Fright Night where you and Billy did the ICP sing along.
I'm sure
that 98.
Yeah, that was 98.
The only problem is we can put it on Facebook, can't put it on the network because of copyright.
Yeah, we get killed on copyright.
We'll need to put it on TikTok. TikTok don't give a shit. So we got to start putting these little clips that we can't get on YouTube on TikTok.
Yeah.
I've been working on that. I've been coming up putting some of them on TikTok. Problem is I don't know if it's because I'm still new to it or they don't trust me or they don't. I'm not big enough for them, but it's like after a minute they squash it. You know,
once you're on so long and post so many, you can add time. And I think it's like that with a number of followers also.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, because they won't let me go over a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's once you get so many followers, you can do the TikTok lives too.
Yeah,
so.
I think you only have to have 1,000.
Yeah.
I think I've got 12.
Maybe we should. Maybe since somebody's a promoter, they should promote things.
Well, I'm too busy promoting the network and Facebook and
the wrestling.
Yeah.
And the wrestling. Yeah. And I tell you what, and I just do the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel on my end, and I feel like I'm stretched too thin. So, I mean, I can't imagine. So what we need, and we need volunteers, is we need one person.
That would be nice to have.
One person per social media platform, one Twitter, one TikTok, one Instagram, one person each. And no, you can't have more than one. You know, I'll sign the Instagram over to the first volunteer, buddy. Believe me, if I think that you can do it. But
yeah, I'm trying to work on that too. They're a little restrictive to me. So maybe someday. But also keep in mind the network has a new episode of something 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff I send to Matt. So a lot of his, bless your heart, man, a lot of your stuff is already pre-made.
Yeah, I know it.
I think Twitter is kind of, you know, I used to do that, but there was never, I don't think Twitter is X, whatever the hell they call it now. Like, I don't think that's as lucrative to use as it used to be.
I just put links to the network. AIWF Network.
That's the best thing you can do is link to other sites at Twitter because I don't know, something about Twitter has changed. I don't know about you guys, but like when I scroll
Twitter's for porn.
Well, I know that's there too now. Thank you, Elon. But a lot of it is more politically driven, it seems like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I like
very much.
I'm like, go away on my little trying to tell the algorithm I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like
it's
this.
Like when your TikTok accidentally that algorithm gets on weird stuff.
Yeah.
I find myself on the timeline, the people that think that in 1988 there was a catastrophic event that destroyed the world and it knocked us into another timeline, and we're in that timeline now, so that's why people have Mandela effects.
That's almost the plot line for Thundar the Barbarian, isn't it?
It is. You were exactly right. But yes, so now that I've mentioned it, it will be on my TikTok algorithm again.
I don't feel so bad about the breastfeeding videos I used to get.
No,
Or your feet videos.
Lightweight.
I get kangaroos choking dogs. So hey,
I got that one too.
Choking dogs. Jeez.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, but the owner saved the dog, so I mean,
and the past week I've been on the Bad Idea Wrestling TikTok. I think I sent.
Is that what you were sending me that stuff? Oh, that guy that fell in the barbed wire and then it wrapped around his neck and pulled him back down on the bounce.
Yeah, was that the trampoline of barbed wire?
Yes. Oh, yes. But that guy had that coming. I mean,
he did. I sent Matt one, and the guy was thrown off into a trampoline of barbed wire. And yes,
hey, can I ask a question?
You just did.
Yes.
So go ahead and ask another one.
Well, maybe never mind now. I thought I was having a stroke because it looked like through the split in the curtains on Brian and Reagan's.
Yes.
But maybe you was just messing with the curtains because it looked like blue light splashing outside your house.
Is it that?
Oh yeah, we're surrounded.
Yeah, we're surrounded.
I was about to say something you want to tell.
I don't know. Maybe Reagan was just messing with the curtains and it was opening and closing a little bit, but it looked just like blue light splashing outside her window. Man, if you could just go back about a minute and just watch, it'd be crazy.
I thought maybe you were talking about how you can see the fan in this picture up here where I'm pointing. It's
So AIWF Ringside getting swatted.
Yeah, when you
busted
go back and watch
alive.
this,
Wouldn't
figure
be
out
the
what
first
time, how far we're in right now. Just go back and watch it. You'll see that right over Brian's head. It looks just like blue lights flashing outside their window.
Yeah, here's the clip that Reagan was talking
oh
about.
yeah. Here we
this
go.
This is some backyard wrestling stuff right here. Now watch.
Ugh.
Can y'all see
That
that
is
good?
just. Could you see it?
Oh
There we
yeah.
go. Look around. Ugh.
Guys,
That's how you get your neck broke. That's how you get your neck broke or slit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonder it didn't happen.
Yeah, it is.
Is there even what I can't tell is there's not it's all barbed wire. There's no mat.
No.
There's
Right.
no jumping or apparatus. See?
They've just wrapped the strands of barbed wire between the springs of the trampoline and
That had to take a while.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our first inductee for Darwin Award of the Year.
No kid.
Jesus.
Good Lord. I wish I knew what that sign said.
Peanuts
Dumbass.
Peanuts Palace.
Yeah, it says Peanuts
says
Palace.
what?
Peanuts
Is
Palace.
it Palace or Place? Palace. Peanuts Palace.
Yeah, Peanuts Palace.
Well, peanuts. That makes me think of peanuts.
Don't worry out there, children. That is not Mr. Peanut. That's not the real Mr. Peanut. Your cashews and what is it? Cocktail peanuts are just fine. There's not going to be a short supply or anything. So
No, but I promise you that peanut's definitely salty.
yeah.
Oh my God, can you imagine being that dumb? I know that.
No.
Actually, yes,
like,
I can.
Okay, yeah. But you think about like, I know in the past, all of us, except Matt, have done some questionably dumb things in wrestling.
Yeah.
But nothing ever that dumb. Like
No.
nothing ever that dumb. Like
The look on Brian's face says it all right now. It's just like,
Yeah.
what?
like I saw that and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's a
But you know,
to find out.
I have the exact same, and I know I'll probably get in trouble for this, but to be honest with you, more I don't care. I have the exact same feeling about that as I do some guy taking the time to crawl up a wall onto a
Balcony.
I don't know, a balcony, a ledge, a shelf,
Yep.
or
There we go.
something.
There we
It
go.
takes him 8 minutes to climb up there. And then he gets his balance, and he'll stand there for a second. Then he'll look out the crowd and go,
Hold on, let me lay there the whole time.
and
Nope,
then
not
he'll
even
jump
laying.
off. And there's 8 guys down there that just happen to have gathered in that one place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
catch it.
Because
Because that's just as stupid to me.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause,
Well, I mean,
like,
you
that's
see it on
not working.
AEW all the time, and that's where these independent the wrestlers are getting it from. And this incident, let's go ahead and put it on blast. If we're going to call it out, let's not be subtle. It happened in Eden, North Carolina last night, and has been all over Facebook. Am I correct? Been all over.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm painting with a broad brush.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because I saw a clip just like that from
Well, that's
Eden.
the thing is like it used to be done. Like when you look back at Lucha itself, and then this kind of it would be so fast paced, and even in WCW when the cruiserweights were doing it, everything was so fast, or it was like you hit a move on the outside or something, the person is prone or they're getting up. They're getting up or they're laying there, and they're so fast that makes sense. But it's evolved into this big, like have a big group of people stand together like this.
Yeah,
like
and
this.
throw and do this. Oh,
yeah, and then you take your big,
and then every once in a while they'll look up to see if he's there because he's scared to death crawling up there because he don't want to fall, and he don't want to hit the floor too soon before everybody gets into place.
Yeah, because then it would be dangerous.
Then guys go around and say, I don't understand why fans don't take us more seriously.
Well,
I've got a story about that in Wentworth one night.
It's not that. Hang on, Stephen. Let me just point out something here. Now, we're not saying that this kid who tried this is stupid because he's influenced by what he sees on TV.
Right.
he hadn't thought through the logic yet. And if he's in his 20s, it'll be another 10 years before he ever thinks anything through with logic.
But shouldn't somebody think about the logic who's been
Somebody
in the
should.
business long enough?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's people that are managers and positions of power in that show. It can,
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, or make sure it doesn't look phony. But that
Yeah,
all
and
started in the WWE with when Vince was still in charge. Let's go back 10, 15 years. Every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view without fail, there would be that spot where there'd be 4, 5, 6 people on the aisle side of the ring, and somebody would go over the ropes and they would catch them and fall down.
Right.
It started in WWE, so don't even say, "Oh, you guys are blaming AEW." No, it's got worse than AEW as far as looking phony.
Because, like I said, the evolution of that. Because if you look back in WCW and then like regular lucha, you see, like I just said, they were fast. It was just one person. They got up, something happened to them. They were either getting up, they're doing this, but they're not just standing there like this, just waiting. Like, you got to be, for it to be realistic, you have to be quick. You have to be quick.
Or the guy who lays on a table the whole time it takes the guy to climb, to the set next story of the building at 3, feet per minute to get up there and then get in position, and the guy's still laying on the table like this. The realism is gone. I keep thinking back to the time the way, Brian, do you remember Yadkinville, North Carolina? Remember when Daniel come off the basketball goal?
Yes, I do.
Now, the way we done it is we set up a table and we held the guy on the table until Daniel got up there. Well, then we set him on fire. But we did it right.
We incapacitated him.
Yeah, we kept him there. And then, all right, let's take another incident. Going back, this same thing. Fright night, Elkin, when Jackie Anderson when we put Jackie Anderson on the table and then left him, and then by the time Daniel got up there to do his moonsault, they'd already attacked Brian and replaced that Jackie with Brian. Remember?
Yeah, Brian remembers.
More, more Brian and Daniel. But I mean, it looked more realistic. It looked more believable than a bunch of guys standing down there pretending, hitting each other like 5-year-olds just so that they could keep looking up to see if the guy's coming. And that's what our business has devolved into.
Yes.
Is let's do a cool spot that make people go, holy shit, no matter how unrealistic and ridiculous it looks. And I'm not, like Matt said, I'm not throwing off on the guy who done it. He don't know no better. He's seen it on TV and he's like, oh, that'd be cool. I'm sure that's his thought. Or hey, I can do this and I'll get a big pop. But they're more worried about the pop than they are the telling of the story that they need to be telling of why that spot is happening.
Yep.
Yeah, it all boils down to and I don't know what the storytelling was of that. I mean, maybe there was,
I doubt it.
some storytelling to
I
that.
don't know. That couldn't have been.
I can't afford to pay one to find out.
I'm just trying to be whatever.
Benefit of the doubt
And that's
over there.
fine.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to tell a story in a match. Like, everything has to have a purpose. It's not just. But I also blame Ring of. I also blame Ring of Honor for this, because Ring of Honor is the one that sort of mainstreamed this choreographed dancing like wrestling.
Yeah.
And that was one of the, and I'm talking like 15, 20,
Oh my God. When I first got access to HD television, I found HD Net and Ring of Honor back in like 2009. No. Yeah, 2009, 2010, somewhere in that neighborhood. And you're right. It was like a choreographed tumbling routine. And it's funny, when I was down at the coast, we took my mother-in-law to see the Pirates Voyage show.
Oh God.
And now that's some tumbling right there. I love it. That's what it is. But I don't want to see that in a damn wrestling ring.
No,
I don't.
And that was one of the issues I had of that. either All Out or All In, where it was MJF versus Will Ospreay. And all of Will Ospreay's matches are like this, but it was like a dance. All it was counter after counter of the same move over and over again for 60 minutes. And it looked like a dance. And I don't like, maybe, I mean, I guess that's some people's thing. Like, they just want to see the acrobatics of it. But like, if you want to do the acrobatics of it, go do Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
Or go to Pirates Voyage. Or, you know, they're probably.
I'll tell you one thing, that show right there is one of the best things in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it is. I've been there 3 times. And so I would advise you this, though. Avoid the Christmas show.
I've never been to the Christmas show.
It's a conceptual nightmare. Pirates and angels don't go together.
Is there angels? Are there angels taking bumps off?
No, there's just one at the end.
Oh my God. But I mean, yeah, that's a fantastic show. Those people, man, they put on a great show.
Mm-hmm.
We went there when we went this summer. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there. Which I'm always also surprised that I don't know anybody from Myrtle Beach is in that show, to be honest. That none of our wrestlers have gone through Pirates.
Probably because they wouldn't be able to wrestle if they got on it.
Oh, that's right, because they would have to work the weekends.
Yeah. I mean, even through the winter, they do one show a day. You know, I mean, that thing never shuts down. I don't think they might take a break for a week for the holidays, but that's about it. But anyway, yeah, so tumbling routines, yeah, belong in a tumbling show or vaudeville show.
Again.
Yeah, sorry, y'all all froze. I swear, I'm not streaming football or nothing this week. I need to check.
It's actually entertaining, Matt, because you don't never know what facial expression you'll have when it freezes.
Yeah, that's fine.
AC said that there was a C4W guy named Michael or Mikhail Mosley.
Michael Mosley.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know who that was. But yeah, so there we go. But so now.
All right, 49ers are up 27-10 over the Pats.
Maybe you are streaming, you liar.
I just checked the score. I just checked the score.
It might be. Well, no, because we're free. I don't know. Are y'all streaming a bunch of stuff? Y'all.
No, it's not y'all. It's Matt.
Yeah.
It's not y'all. It's Matt.
I'm just going to start fussing at my children on mic now because everybody can tell when I do it. So
yeah, you might as well.
Might as well let them hear me.
Yeah,
right.
We can tell you're doing it. You might as well just let us know what you're saying.
I know because
Instead of us just, coming up with our own, voice track for you.
Oh,
mercy. All right, let me go ahead and read the first ads, and then we'll talk about the Netflix documentary. All right. So Premier Auto Detailing, hands down, they're the best car cleaning service in town. They operate a car washing and detailing service in the Mount Airy, Surry County area. They will do residential jobs, commercial jobs. Like we always say, if you got a used car lot or some type of fleets, you got trucks that help you with your construction business or something, and you don't want to bring on an extra person to just wash the cars, they can help you with that. 336-736-2638. That's 336-736-2638. And they will get you hooked up for less than any of the competition around. Give them a call, Premier Auto Detailing. They will be happy to help you with your car washing needs. Also, T's Creations Custom Apparel. It's starting to, I'm about to say, it's almost October. It's starting to get cool, but no, it ain't. It's still warm, but now's the time to get these t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, custom made anything. Here's a look at kind of a look at some of the prints for the fall lineup this year. It will in the next probably 2-3 weeks start getting chilly as we enter October. But you can reach out to T's Creations. They can do custom jobs for you. They've got, like you say, some preset designs like you see on the slide here, but they are all over the internet at tscreations22.com, T's Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook, TikTok, there you go, and T's Creations there, and they're also on Shopify. So they are just everywhere. I mean, you have to go out of your way to miss them. But T's Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook, T's Creations22.com. Tees Creations on TikTok and Shopify. And these are just a sampling of the autumn designs. They can help you out with much other stuff. Also, we welcome Big D's Grill to the family. At least that's what I was told to do by Darren Rick Diesel. So just in case you're wondering why this is here. But anyways, so they got that's a new food truck service that's opened up in the Mount Airy area, specialized in Philly cheesesteaks, burgers, chicken wings. Man, oh man, does that look good? This one right here, take off those red onions because they give me heartburn. It looks good the way it is, but I couldn't eat it that way. I'd need those red onions taken off. The Philly steak looks great. The cheeseburger and the wings all look great. And check out the hot dogs. Oh man, look, see, you can tell he likes to toast the bun. You see that? And you see the char markings there on the buns. They got Philly cheesesteaks, chicken tenders, chicken wings, burgers, hot dogs, fries, mini donuts, snow cones. They got it all. Big D's Grill, somewhere near you, up in the. And Rick Diesel, do we know where Big D's Grill is going to be at this coming week or
next Thursday? What is the 3rd of October? They will be at the Mount Airy Walmart, and Big D's is a sister truck to T's Treats.
Yes.
So Big D's, since T's Treats on the 26th has a big event in Dobson, North Carolina, Big D's Grill will be handling the concessions at Fright Night.
All right. All right.
So there you go.
Get ready for Philly steaks and mini donuts on Halloween, man. Oh, goodness sakes. Yeah, we always feed you good at the wrestling. Best concessions in wrestling.
I'll be nice to Seth if I can have him be my food gopher this time now.
I don't know.
I lost my other food gopher. I made him mad. Not Dean. I mean, Rick. God damn it.
Well, don't sell it. No, but anyway, Big D's Grill. They're going to be at Fright Night this year, so check it out. Get your Philly cheesesteak. Tell him extra mayo, extra cheese, hold the onions. All right.
Now I think he's got like 5 or 6 different flavors of wings.
Oh, really? I didn't realize he had that many flavors.
Oh yeah, he's got flavors. He's got different flavors of wings. So,
and wouldn't it be the brother of T's Treats, not the sister?
I don't know how that works. I don't know what the proper term of it is.
I don't either.
So maybe it would be. Maybe it's the weird stepbrother.
No,
yeah,
family adjacent.
There you go.
I know that, like in television and radio, if you got a station that's owned by the same owner, you always say it's your sister station.
Sister station, you're right.
Yep. So anyway,
Big D's Grill will be taking care of concessions at Fright Night. So stepping in for T's Treats.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, wrestling fans, if you let me take a picture of you during intermission eating something off the Big D's food truck, and you want that put in this advertisement that we will run every week on this show,
there you go.
To do it, and I'll be glad to do it. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything compromising, because I know the girls are like, oh yeah, he wants to get a shot of me eating a hot dog weenie or something like that. No, nothing dirty like that. Just, you know, I mean, now if you want to pose for photos like that, you could probably find somebody that'll take them, but not me. I just want you to enjoy it.
Hey, maybe this should be our new business venture.
Oh, Lord.
Sexy girls eating hot dogs.
All right. So, well,
rode them on your feet.
Speaking of sexy girls eating hot dogs and other sordid things, the Vince McMahon documentary has come out on Netflix this past week, and I, for one, could not resist binging it. You know, I was having struggling with insomnia this past week, and I was I'm not saying the documentary helped me with that, but when you've got insomnia, you can't sleep no matter what. And so I figured, well, I'm not going to waste my time. Let me go ahead and watch this for the show. So has everybody in the room here seen the documentary yet?
I watched it.
We have, yes.
I actually watched it.
Oh my Lord, Steve. No, Steve, you were in a hurricane, so
no, he watched it before the hurricane, though.
Yeah,
I got it in right before.
Yes,
all
now
right.
For the first time, everybody on the panel has watched something and can discuss it.
Yes.
All right, so let me get. I don't have notes up on it, but I'm going to pull it my handy dandy Netflix app because it was 6 episodes.
Mhm.
And I thought it was well put together. There are some people across the podcast land that don't seem to think so, that have been saying it's a shitty program that was very much like a WWE documentary on A&E. I disagree with that. They said it was a fluff piece for the most part. I disagree with that. I'll go around the room and let you say whether you agree with it or not. I disagree with that. I thought they tried to tell the story as fair, as balanced as possible. And they leaned on the interviews from the people they had. They had Vince, which they leaned on heavily because, I mean, you got the guy, you know, it's his story.
Yep.
Bruce Pritchard, who is Vince's right-hand man, so you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. But I will tell you this, I don't think Bruce Pritchard lies unless he has to.
Right.
Right.
And
I don't think he lied till the last episode.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah. In
agree
this series. Yeah.
wholeheartedly. Yes. And the thing is, I think you know who stole that show? Tony Atlas.
Oh,
Tony
God,
Atlas.
yes, without a doubt.
He's
Without a doubt.
like, I don't like him because backstage he's grabbing my pecker. Your what? My pecker.
My pecker. Yeah, it had
Oh,
a thick Roanoke, Virginia accent, and the
He
guy
does.
interviewed was like, "Excuse me, what did you say?"
But yeah, I felt like I did not feel like. I think that I agree. I think they did what they could with it. Like, I don't think it was like a trash piece, like, because you know a lot of this stuff. Yes, I know you can edit stuff and yada yada yada, but you know there were a lot of things that Vince said himself that were, you know, a little. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but like some of the things he said made you think, huh, does he just not know? Like, does he have no self-awareness of what's going on with him, or is he just a sociopath? So,
Oh, a little bit of both. I
They
imagine.
asked him really tough questions
Mm-hmm.
too, so I don't know where people are getting fluff piece from.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I thought, and for Vince, for his part, when he was doing the interviews with him, he seemed like he was trying to, without compromising himself for his business, he was trying to be as forthright as he could with what he was telling him. The first episode is called Junior, and it chronicles Vince Jr. taking over from his dad. And I thought they did a great spot of setting up how the territories worked, how Vince got him. And they didn't give, and a lot of people say, well, they didn't really explain the territories in detail. I could sit here, me and Stephen Hayes and Rick Diesel and Brian could sit here for 6 hours and not even scratch the surface on how the territories work. So don't start that shit with me.
no,
You know,
and like,
Yeah, and you don't have to go into a detailed explanation of what the territories were. They explained it enough to say this is how it was done, and Vince did it differently.
yeah, and
And-
I go back to a lot of people say, well, Vince was greedy. He
even
did
said, you know,
this. Go ahead, Reagan. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, well, the one thing he said is he said his father was like, you what you're doing is not right. You know, you shouldn't do this. They're gonna, you know, that's not how you do business. And he disagreed, and you know, whether or not I like how they describe the territories because they put up that map and they explain like what you were seeing and who you were seeing at each organization, like, or each territory. They were talking about the big guys in each territory, and like I felt like this is what I think. I think this is a documentary created. I think it's easier to watch this documentary as a wrestling fan than it would be if you were not a wrestling fan, because a lot of the stories are ones that you've kind of already heard, but with a little bit more in depth about it. So, like, I think they're like, okay, well, people that are watching this know about the territories, so we don't have to spend 3 episodes talking about the territories.
It wasn't about the territories. It was about what Vince done. It was about Vince and what he done to the territories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
He didn't have to explain all the territories. And as much as I hate what Vince done to the territories, because I've always been a territory system fan, that this documentary gave me a lot of respect for Vince the businessman.
Mm-hmm. It sure did. Me too. I agree.
And I said that to Brian. I was like, you can, and I think they even said in the documentary this, I don't know who said it. he can be both things. He can be like, this was more later when people talk as him like a father figure. But when you look at Vince McMahon, he can be both things. He can be the person who created modern day wrestling. He can be that person. And you can look at that person and that business model and be like, yes, he was successful at that. He created the wrestling that we see now. But he can also be the other things.
Yep.
He can be the person who is very, I mean, flawed is an understatement.
Yeah.
But you can be a great business person and create something very good, create something and still be a person who is a megalomaniac and somebody who does terrible things to some people. You can be both ways.
Yeah,
it's just like wait, what?
You're way over in episode 6.
Sorry.
We're still
I was just saying, well, Rick talked about him being a businessman, and yeah, I agree. Like he ran that business the way I guess you should run the business when you want to become the #1 wrestling organization in the world. So,
well, I think, and I kind of go, I don't know how I felt about this before this documentary. And Stephen Hayes, I'm going to ask your opinion on this too. They talked a lot about free enterprise. I always kind of looked at it a lot of ways. Well, Vince killed the territory system. But to me, especially, and I thought this for a few years, but now after watching this documentary, I almost said documentary, but after watching this, I got to think, well, Vince realized quicker than any of the other promoters that, wait a minute, this cable thing, although it's limited right now, is gonna take off in the next 5 years. And after that, you'll be able to see Mid-South, you'll be able to see Mid-Atlantic, you'll be able to see Kansas City all over the country. And that won't be any good. That'll oversaturate the market. Why don't I try to buy out all these territories and just have one big national promotion, and that way it won't be oversaturated. I can take over everything, and all the wrestlers will get paid big bucks when they come to work for me. And, I'll take over the wrestling business, run my competition out of business. It's a win. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody except Vince. The wrestlers and Vince, it's a win-win. The other promoters, not so much. But again, it's free enterprise. You can do business in the United States wherever you want to. So should the other promoter, Jim Crockett tried to fight him. Bill Watts, until he got shoved out of Atlanta TV, I think would have been able to fight him. But none of the other ones really did. They stayed in business as long as they could. Lawler was smart. They worked with Vince. Stu Hart, Jack Tunney, all them, they saw the writing on the wall, so
yep.
Is Vince
if
bad
Vince
a guy?
hadn't done it, someone else would have eventually.
That's right.
Yeah. And yes,
he just
I
did
agree.
it first.
Yeah, and we'd be sitting here having a conversation
about it.
Sorry, I was skipping. I guess it's my internet.
Wait. Oh. Because the thing about business is I think it's hard sometimes to draw a line between how you feel about a business and your morals. So you could say that his business model was, free market. It was able, but I can see where some people would also put their morality into the way they view what he did with the territories. And it's a hard thing to differentiate because, as a business model, what he did was he did what he was supposed to do. So if you look at it as a business model,
business is personal. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. That's why
well, my thing is, the thing is with especially with wrestling, it is a business, but it's not just a business. There are people who love the art form and sport of pro wrestling. And when somebody comes in and messes with the way things have been done for about 100 years or so, people are going to get upset because it's not just a business to these people. And so, and they take it personally. So, That's one of the reasons the territories stayed the way it was for so long.
Yeah, I guess that's what my brain is scrambled today.
I'll say this: I've always felt like the way you do business is a reflection of who you are as a person. You can say business is business, personal is personal. No, it's not. Because the way you act when there's money on the line is a reflection of your true character. I'm sorry, it just is. I've always in the Phantom Menace, here Star Wars nerds, get ready to lose your shit. Qui-Gon said greed can be a powerful ally. For years, I didn't understand what that meant until I had a relative pass away that was very close to me, and I watched the family circle like vultures over what was perceived to be valuables, but actually not, because I talked to the lawyer. Used jewelry ain't worth shit. So just so you know, if you didn't know out there, now you know. I've helped you out.
Gordon Gekko, greed is good.
Yeah, and if you succumb to greed, it'll eat you alive and ruin you. But if you use it as a whitewash, and I think Rick Diesel, you've heard me say this before, if you use it as an ally, it will whitewash people and let you see who they really are. No matter what kind of front they put up, it'll show it to you. Now, will it leave you disappointed in most people? Yes. That's the sad part. It's a very good tool, but it's a painful one to use. So think about it before you use it.
Well, that's the thing, is like, some people say you can separate the two. That's what I was meaning by, like, some people say it's just business, and then some people say you can't put your morality into business. And I don't think it's like what you guys are saying. It is personal, especially something like a business like this, because in a business like this, it's everybody is working to make that product, especially with the territory, not just the promoters, everybody that runs the locker room, everybody that works on the show, everybody that puts everybody's working together. And so it becomes like a family, because you're always together. You're always you're always together. You're always doing this stuff together. If something happens, it affects you. I'm talking about like personally or financially. If something happens, so like it's a strange business. And I kept talking about that while we were watching it, because like, if you are not part of this business, I think sometimes it's hard to understand the way the business is run, if that makes sense. Like, it's
you have to be in the bubble.
To understand why that part, like, yes, that is business. He did what he's supposed to do. He was a good businessman, blah, 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 blah. But like, when you're in it, you understand why it's terrible that some company that thinks they have more money than you comes in and thinks they can just run you over because they got a bigger pocketbook.
Right. But do you just bitch and moan about it, or you do something about it? Bill Watson, Jim Crockett did something about it. They lost.
You always fight back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Always.
So
you can't.
Jim Crockett got outmaneuvered, but it wasn't because of lack of effort. And I mean, plus those.
No, it was one accountant where he needed more.
Yeah, exactly. They had too small of an infrastructure. And Bill Watts just got burned out and fed up with it. And then when, the oil industry dried up in New Orleans, said, fuck it, and sold out. Jim Crockett was, rest in peace, dumb enough to buy that territory when he could have just went in and took it over,
Right. Jim Crockett thought he was doing the right thing. By buying them out and helping them financially. But he hurt himself financially.
Abiding by what you would call the tenets of what the NWA was, instead of going into the territory as like, all right, I'm going to buy in or buy out.
Well, he did the same thing with Florida. He bought that from Eddie Graham's family when he could have just waited for it to go out of business and then moved right in. It was next door.
Did the same thing with Kansas. He did the same thing with Kansas.
Exactly.
He paid for stuff that he really didn't need to pay for.
That's why people and like I said, I hope AEW survives because the boys need it. But that's what bothers me about Tony Khan. He wasn't raised in this business. he was not a part of this business until he opened up his wallet and bought into it.
Well, he was a mark.
Yeah, he's a money mark.
Money mark.
That's it. That's what I don't like about money marks. They don't know. They look at the business as this kind of business, and I get that, I do. But this business is also another kind of business, and if you can't just buy that and say, oh, well, I get it now because I've been doing it for so many, 4 or 5 years or whatever. Now I get it.
Yeah.
No, you never get it.
Yeah, but on the same instance, this same guy, Rick Diesel, tell me, if Tony Khan started going over Jaguar statistics with you over the last 20 years, you'd be all ears because he knows that shit. That's
right.
what he knows.
Yeah, he knows football. He knows Jacksonville Jaguar, but he don't know wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and yeah, he can pay people to do it. But I'm telling you right now, the only difference, and I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more times. The only difference in a money mark show drawing 10,000 or hell 800, 900, 1,200. The only difference between that show with a money mark behind it and a local independent show drawing 100 people, the only difference in those two shows is the money.
mm-hmm.
That's it. Period. That's where it stops.
And it's where just to add that, I think it also has to where the money's coming from. Like, I think when you just have somebody who's just not bleeding money, but like just shoving money in and in and in and in, and they don't take into account like the reality of the business and what it really means to be in this business 100%. And I know that sounds weird, but I don't know.
Well, this business is something that's I don't want to say bred into you, but it's beat into you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's very hard to make money at it. It's extremely difficult to make money at.
Yeah.
But
going back to what I was saying, the only difference in the money mark show and the local wrestling show is the money. Because they may draw 1,000 people, where this guy over here may draw 100. But the quality of the show technically is no different because they're still using the same wrestlers. Maybe not the same people, but the same business. You know what I'm saying? So the only difference that makes this show over here draw 1,000 and this show draw 100 is the fact that the money mark brought in bigger names.
And spent more on advertising.
And spent more on talent. Yeah, he had to spend a lot more to draw that 1,000 people than this guy did to draw the 100 people. But the show experience, I mean, the actual wrestling experience is basically the same. They may not have a fancy light show. They may not have they may not have half a card full of names, but it's still wrestling.
And it's just,
it ain't hard to see what the example you're drawing from here. I'm just saying.
And I agree. Like I don't know about other businesses because I don't know that much about other businesses, but like you'll see like the hospital, somebody comes in, another person like begins doing it, but it doesn't feel personal, does it?
No.
Like because you work somewhere and a larger people came in, like a larger group came in, and then like did it feel personal when they came in?
No.
But when you have a business, because like I said, like you do just to put on an indie level.
Reagan, you are all over the place. I'm really having trouble following.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with my brain tonight. Sorry. I'll stop talking.
No.
I'm just going back to, okay, let me get my point clear. Here we go. In this business, especially on indies, you're at that show every weekend, every other weekend. You're there with the exact same people. You're working to make that show run smoothly. You're there to put on a good show. You're working your tail off, and you're doing everything you can to make the show good for the fans. And then you have somebody think that because they have deeper pockets that they can come in and like take over where you've put all the hard work in to make a wrestling culture in that area. Does that make more sense now, Matt? Was that better?
Yes, but I just feel like we've strayed from the Vince McMahon
We have.
documentary.
Well, we got onto the territory thing, which
Yeah.
kind of evolved into
Yeah.
because that's all indie wrestling is anymore is territory wrestling.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, it is because especially when there's so many indies that they all have their own little town.
Yeah. Stephen Hayes, I wanted to ask you if Bill Watts or Jim Crockett had won this war against Vince McMahon, would we be here in 2024 talking about a Netflix documentary about Bill Watts? I don't know if he would have shit on anybody's head or not. He kind of strikes me as being the kind of guy that would if he thought he could get away with it. No offense, Cowboy. I'm sorry. I've heard you on podcasts from years ago, and you just strike me that way because what he said about Dark Journey. Would we be sitting here in the same situation if the war had gone? Will we see that son of a bitch, Cowboy Bill Watts, that no good Jim Crockett Jr.? What a piece of shit he is. I love his brother David, but he's a piece of shit. Would we be saying that if Vince hadn't won the war?
About Crockett, no. About Watts, 98% yes. 98% yes about Watts, just because of the way Bill run his business. Where it was realism, it was believability. You would have it. I don't think you would have the allegations that Vince has against him against Watts, but I can almost guarantee you there would be about 400 assault charges that we'd be talking about in the documentary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially with the bully culture that is today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we would have been having this conversation about either one of them, not the allegations, but the wrestling end of it. Because anybody who would have went out and done that to the territories would have had to suffer the rat.
Yeah, you're automatically the devil at that point.
Yes, yes. No matter who you were, no matter what your last name was.
Yeah.
Right. If you've got the horns, you've got the pitchfork. You killed what I loved. Where's my Gordon Soley wrestling? Here we go.
Yeah. Even as a little kid, though, I always respected WWF's production values. When I would watch Primetime on Monday night and they'd do the interviews, the sound was always so clear. It's like they really cared. And I understood, like, Jim Crockett Promotions was kind of a more rough, rugged local product, and I liked that about it. It was a good compromise. Okay, here's the big New York promotion on USA Network where everything's crystal clear and crisp and clean and nice. But here's the Carolinas, rough and tumble, rugged. These motherfuckers really hate each other. Look at all this blood, but as soon as Crockett went out of business and Turner took over WCW, it became, I know it's been said a million times, but it bears repeating, it became WWE Light, and the territory system was dead at that point.
There is one, and I swear it's probably my own personal bias. There's one person other than Vince that I would have accepted being able to take national, and he never wanted to. He never had the chance, and that would have been Eddie Graham.
Yep, I think you're right.
If you would have given me Eddie Graham wrestling nationwide, given him time to educate the audience to what he did in Florida, I don't think there'd be a complaint about wrestling now.
You talking about before Dusty or during Dusty?
During Dusty.
During Dusty, okay. So give us
before and during.
Before and during, okay.
Yeah, so go 74 to 83.
So the end. Okay. Yeah. Because he passed away in 84, right?
Yeah.
If you and look, we're not gonna get too much into Eddie Graham's personal life, but if you kids out there want to Google it, it's a fascinating yet tragic story. But think about the people that Eddie Graham mentored, though. Bill Watts, Dusty Rhodes. I mean, good God, his son.
You take this that Eddie's tag team partner, Dr. Jerry Graham,
Vince
and
McMahon's
we get to it in the
wrestler.
documentary wrestler, right?
Yep.
One promoter in the country that Vince wouldn't go in on at all, and it was Eddie Graham.
Yeah.
he had a house beside Eddie's house in Florida. You know, that's what I'm saying is just when every other promoter in the country, if they couldn't figure out a finish, they'd call Eddie and Eddie would get them a finish.
Yeah.
Big show, blah, blah, blah. So
You
Eddie
know,
Graham to promoters is what Brad Armstrong is to wrestlers.
yeah.
He is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, and is your favorite promoter's favorite promoter.
You know something funny about the Florida territory? I don't know if you got Stephen Hayes, I bet you know this, but according to Brian Last, in the early 80s, late 70s, Vince Sr. allowed the Eddie Graham weekly program to be broadcast in New York.
Uh-huh.
No, yeah, put this on. This is good. Our fans will like this. Because who's going to drive from New York to Florida to buy a ticket, right? Vince Sr. saw that it was no danger. And if they swap talent, they're bringing Dusty Rhodes in. Oh, mama, let's go to the Garden. I want to see Dusty Rhodes. He's on, WWOR, and so
it also helped get Dusty over when he came up to wrestle Graham.
Yeah, and we're talking late 70s here. And some of us weren't even born in the late 70s, so we're getting real deep into history. But it just shows you, man, things were different back then. It's not all black and white. There's a lot of gray area to this story, and episode 1 I thought did a great job of backing it up. And then episode 2 was called Heat, and they started getting into like the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov and that area, the rock and wrestling area of WWE, which is about the time I came along. Hulk Hogan's rock and wrestling cartoon on CBS on Saturday morning is what got 9-year-old me interested in wrestling. I mean, I never gave a shit. I knew my dad watched wrestling, but I didn't give a shit about it before then. But I started watching that, and then,
See, I'm different. See, I grew up, like, my great-grandma loved wrestling, except for the women, because she said they were naked on TV. But, so I would sit with her and watch NWA, and maybe everyone, I don't think there was ever any WWE. Like, I'm just thinking back. Like, I didn't watch any of that. So I got my first taste from her when I was little, and her sitting right up on the TV. Like, they had a TV like on a cart, and she'd get her chair and she'd get right up in the TV, and she'd let them people have it. And she'd holler at that TV, and she would fuss at them people. And she was just like this. And then they're like, she's like, that woman, she on TV and she don't even have any clothes on.
Even though she's wearing more clothes than the men.
Yeah. So,
but that was okay. It's okay for the men folk to parade out there like that.
So my great grandma was probably in her 80s then. And then I started, that was one of the reasons I started watching NWA. And then by the time I was in 5th grade, and 4th, 5th grade, I was huge Rock and Roll Express fans, because we, my friend and I, Melissa, joined the Rock and Roll Express fan club together. However, I didn't get any of the cool stuff. She got to keep the poster and the record. Or I think I might have got the record, but it disappeared. But anyway,
you'll be happy to know Ricky and Robert didn't get a dime from that.
Well, and I don't think I started watching. See, like when I was little, we didn't have cable. We only had Channel 12, WDBJ7, and 45 or 48, one of those, and PBS. So I didn't get
that
cable.
Sounds like if you were getting WDBJ7 out of Roanoke, you must have grew up in either Stokes County or Patrick County.
Stokes.
There we go.
So I got whatever. And then at my grandparents' house, that was where I watched the wrestling. Like wrestling, I don't remember coming on any of the channels. So I didn't have cable TV until I was in 6th or 7th grade. Yeah. So that's when I started being able to watch Saturday night main event. When it came on, what was that, like once a month, twice a month?
Yep.
4 times
I think
a year.
once a quarter. Once a quarter.
That was my first introduction to the WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Was that.
If you'd lived a little farther east, you would have been in good shape, because whereas Crockett Promotions was on most of the big channels in the Triad market, Stephen Hayes looked nodding his head, knowing where I'm going with this.
WRAL, baby.
Yeah, well, they were on WRAL, but I'm talking about the Greensboro television market.
Yeah.
And I want to get in the weeds in here because I'm gonna bore the average fan to death. But the stations, like a lot of the stations in the Greensboro market, carried Worldwide Wrestling and NWA Pro or Mid Atlantic at the time, right? And sometimes they would air on multiple stations. But because the television market was rich, they had independent stations that there was no need to put the Crockett Show on there because it's already on twice here and twice there every weekend. So what did they do? They ran WWE programming, Mid-South programming, whatever they could pick up. ICW, you're the second person that's told me that. So I wasn't sure it was coming from a reliable source, but I know you're a historian. So
considering ICW was based out of Winston. Yeah.
Oh,
ICW. I thought ICW was based out of East Tennessee.
No, you had Potho out of East Tennessee, Kentucky.
Oh, okay. That's what I think of ICW.
Yeah. No, there was, because where you had Bill Eadie and them as the Bolos were doing Pennsylvania and whatnot, they had another section office that was based out of Winston. Am I right on that, Diesel? Was it ICW all kind of tied in with Savaldi's and all them?
I remember ICW. I don't remember whether or not they had an office in Winston, but I do know that they used to run the Winston Coliseum, and then they would run the small, because they would come to Mount Airy.
Yep. I've seen one or two posters.
One of the TV tapings, and I wasn't even old enough to drive hardly.
That's crazy. I also grew up in Florida in the summers in Florida. I'd watch was the Von Erichs, and it had to be from Texas. Had to be Texas.
Yeah, WCCW.
That they played in Tampa, where my grandparents lived.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's interesting. But I didn't realize that they had parts in Winston. That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you got that brain.
This is going to keep descending back to the territories.
I know. Our hearts lie.
Okay, so this everybody said that nice comment about the territories.
I'll leave it at this. So go on YouTube, go to Kayfabe Commentaries, and watch the Cornet Back to the Territories with Bill Eadie. He'll go through that. He'll go through that section of the based out of Winston, blah, blah, blah.
There you go. That's where you can find it. But anyway, I was getting into the whole rock and wrestling thing. That was the second episode. Let's see. We're not going to be able to cover this all tonight. I'm sorry. The third episode was probably my favorite. Let's cover this briefly. It was called Screw Job. And they started off with Wendy Richter losing the women's title in 85 to Spider Lady, which I ran across that match just watching like Tuesday Night Titans or one of the old shows that was airing actually at that time, and just saw it without having any context. And I was like, oh, so that's how Wendy Richter lost the women's title back to Moolah, and then I'd heard podcasters talk about the stories, but if you weren't there and Bruce Pritchard was not there at the time, and Vince McMahon sure as hell wasn't going on the podcast, when he was still in charge to tell that story, you could only hear speculation. Mean Gene, I think, talked about it once. I don't even know if he was there in that part. Yeah, he was. By 85, he was there. And I had seen it, and I was like, I remember thinking, I wonder if that's true. So they told that story. Turns out it was true. Wendy tried to hold up Vince McMahon, and that got over like a fart in church. And so that was the end of her wrestling career, I believe, was after that, And then they moved on to Montreal, which I think we're watching that pay-per-view the night that happened. So,
well, and like Brian and I were discussing about this, whether or not you think whatever you think about Bret Hart and Wendy Richter, when you think about, you don't take a company's belt with Bret. You don't take a company's belt when you go somewhere else. You don't do that.
If you're leaving,
my only comment on it,
guy you're dropping it to, that's too bad. Sorry you have to drop it to the guy you hate. You're leaving. It's not your, you just drop it. I mean, that's just
my only comment on that is you do business or you have business done. Period.
Yeah,
that's like Vince said in the documentary. He said it was my belt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was
well,
taking
his
it back.
belt is mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is his belt.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because look how poorly, like, look, and I assume, yeah, Medusa was way before Brett. So think about that. And they showed part of that where Medusa
Yeah.
showed up
A couple of
with the
years.
women's belt, the WWE women's belt, took a trash can and just dropped it in there. So Vince knew what was going to happen if Brett, by any chance, made it to WCW as their champion.
Right.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you
would've
can't
killed
have
him.
that done.
It would have killed him at that time because WWE was on such sketchy financial footing. If they would have lost,
Vince made the statement. He trusted Brett. He didn't trust Bischoff.
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I have
money talks.
for a lot of time, for the longest time, I felt sorry for Brett. But then, now that I look at Vince, I'm like, I get it. I get why he done it. I understand. And I don't have any, as a fan, I don't have any ill will toward Vince for doing what he done.
No.
Yeah,
and if you guys remember Wrestling with Shadows, the Bret
They
Hart
was filming
documentary,
that while that happened, right?
I know it. And I remember seeing that years ago thinking, I like Bret Hart and I still like Bret Hart to this day. But in that, not being willing to drop that title to Shawn Michaels at the Survivor Series, that was wrong. It was wrong. I'm sorry. It just was.
Certain ways you do business, certain ways you don't. And I mean, it's not I'm going to take this over here or this, but back in a time when I had the AIWF world title, I had offers to work other shows in the area, and I wouldn't take those bookings because I'm not sure how they were going to book me against their talent, and I didn't want to shit on our belt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I think people don't think of now.
No, not now.
No, that makes it difficult. I mean, I don't want to get too much into business like that. But even Bret Hart in the interview says, eventually he said he understood why it happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that that's why there's all that footage. The wrestling was I was wondering where they got all that footage from, where they're standing in the hallway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when they're talking to Hunter and stuff. So that really was interesting. I did like the difference in the Vince getting punched. That Vince is like, because Vince says like, yeah, he's gonna want to punch me, so I just need to go back there and do it. And then Brett's like, I don't know where that story came from, but
I don't know where Brett's story came from that he gave him an uppercut.
Yeah,
looked like he punched him in the fucking eye to me.
He gave him an uppercut and hit him in the jaw. How the hell did you give a black eye from hitting him with an uppercut?
Yeah. That's the thing. Brett's been kind of inconsistent over the years. Don't get me wrong. Fandom, Hitman, still love you. You're one of my favorites. Would I trust and believe? Would I trust you to give me directions? Maybe.
Do you know? Never mind. I was going to tell my
only around Calgary.
I was going to tell my funny little Bret Hart story, but I'll pass.
Can you tell it in less than a minute? Because I need to read these ads.
When my friends and I were stalking wrestlers, we were at Greensboro, and he was, I think it was either Greensboro, Winston, can't remember, it was a parking deck, and he was parked like right next to us, and he and this other woman were unpacking and very lovey-dovey.
Yeah, and this was Brett's wife, right? We want to be correct on that.
No. The very next day, it came out that he had been cheating on his wife and they were getting divorced. And I just thought it was really funny because we had seen it the previous day because we were all like, because she looked very different than Brett's wife.
Reagan works for Meltzer, confirmed.
So I thought that was very funny. That's just my little Brett.
Why was Meltzer in that damn
because he's a historian, and I will I know what Dave is putting out now, I will agree is crap. But as far as if I wanted to sit down, if I want to talk about wrestling that happened in the 80s or the 90s, y'all froze. Okay, so all right, let me say this again. What Meltzer puts out now, I think is crap. But if I wanted to talk to him about stuff that happened in the 80s and 90s, I think he's a very reliable source. You know,
Back when he had the Meltzer mullet.
well, when he from a
that's the thing, too,
historical
that
perspective, from a historical perspective, I still don't trust what he said about that was going on behind the scenes. Like, oh, plans change.
Yeah.
No, but if you want to talk about what actually happened in the ring and what caused cause and effect of different things throughout history, very accurate. That's why he was on there. And I thought he did a good job.
There were a lot of shots there where he was with Vince and another group of people and stuff. So that was something I found interesting because I don't know that much about him other than what he has to say now. And I was as a casual fan, or not fan of him, just having casual knowledge about what he says now. I did not realize that he was actually in the mix with the people back then.
90% of the promoters in the day actually fed Meltzer info because it was a way to get their stuff around that wasn't touched by Apter and them in the mags, which were Bill and Stu Stacks and those just basically making up stories to go with whatever was going on.
Yes, boy, did they make some shit up too. Oh Lord, but that's not. I don't want to trash Bill Apter.
Yeah,
I'll always like to look at the pictures.
I mean, it's the same though. You don't. I mean, dirt rags in wrestling, dirt rags in Hollywood. I mean, that's the big thing. It's like, think about when we were growing up. I think National Enquirer and like the magazines like that, that were real big back then that were telling stories like that. So, I mean, I don't think it was just a wrestling phenomenon. It was like a phenomenon with famous people.
Are any of those magazines still available at your local grocer? I think maybe the Enquirer is.
I think the Enquirer might be, but it's
haven't seen a World Weekly News in a while, and I'm really worried
they went
about
out of business in the early 2000s. However, the website is still up, and if you want to order classic editions, they are there for the taking, my friend. They will print you up one and ship it.
I was really worried about Bat Boy.
They never found out. They never found out.
No, never found out.
No.
That's the thing I think people don't realize now because of the internet. Like, you can find your nonsense on the internet anywhere with like one keystroke. But like back then, you had to read it while you were waiting in line to do your groceries at Food Line. Yeah. So
don't be seen buying it, but you read it in line.
Well, my science teacher in 10th grade turned us on to the Weekly World News because he was like science, fact, or fiction, and he had the thing on the froze again. And now okay, all right. I just wait till y'all start moving again. I just stop talking and then wait till y'all start moving again. So, because I got two people in the house screaming, and that's what's going on. So, but anyway, the Weekly World News. If you read the disclaimer, if you could find it, because they put it in a different place every month, it was basically a showcase for freelance writers. So, if you could write a good enough story about Bat Boy and you sent in a picture with yourself pointing to a tree, if the story was good enough, they would print it, if it fell in line with what's been printed before. So it's no telling how many fiction writers got going by getting published in Weekly World News under an assumed name, if we only knew,
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just connect it all to wrestling, because you know who the main publisher for the Enquirer was, right?
No,
it was Raven's dad.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fascinating. I do remember.
Answers a lot of questions, though, doesn't
it? Yeah.
Don't it?
But next part. Final comment.
Back on the rails.
Advertisement time. We'll talk more about the Vince McMahon documentary as we move forward. All right, so let's see here. Branch management. It's almost October. As a matter of fact, it'll be October on Tuesday. Time to plant trees and shrubs. Time to plant trees and shrubs. You must plant in fall. Don't know why. Don't know plants other than what my landscape guy tells me, but I know that you plant in the fall when it comes to this type of thing, shrubbery, trees, whatnot. They have to get a good sleep and plenty of water for wintertime to come back strong for next spring. Branch management can help you with that. All those leaves that are starting to fall, They can help you with that too. They can help you clean that stuff up, get them out of the gutters, get them out of the yard, do any pressure washing that needs to be done after that. Give them a call, 336-648-2487. They free estimates. So they'll come out and give you an idea of what the damage is going to be before anybody ever picks up a rake. So 336-648-2487. That's Branch Management. They were our first sponsor. And like most parents, we love our oldest child the most. 336-648-2487. That's Branch Management, serving the greater Mount Airy, Surry County area. But of course, if the price is right, they'll probably come just about anywhere. Tease Treats is the most delicious sponsor that we have on this show, and maybe the most delicious concessions in wrestling. Prove me wrong. A locally owned food truck based in Mount Airy. Great pizza, delicious dogs, decadent desserts. Available for festivals. They're staying busy this time of year. Athletic tournaments. If you'd like to know where Tease Treats is going to be, or if you can book them for your event, just call 336-755-8204, or you can visit them on Facebook at Tease Treats. Look at these. This looks like a apple funnel cake. Apple. What am I trying to say?
Compote.
Huh?
Compote. Apple compote.
It's a fritter. It's a fritter.
It's a fritter. I was going to say
It's a
apple
funnel
compote.
cake with apples on top of it.
Yeah, and then this one down here is a funnel cake with some kind of pumpkin stuff on it, pumpkin spice or something. But they all look good. Oh, delicious. And but anyway, check them out. They will be at the concession stand for our show coming up this weekend. Tease Treats, ultimately delicious. And there's the Mayberry deputy with his stamp of approval for our friends at Tease Treats. Come on out and see them. And last but not least, finally, Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a gaming store that also features collectible toys, retro gaming consoles, and games, as well as free-to-play arcade cabinets, comic books, Magic the Gathering, casual play, as well as tournaments. So that means you can come in there and just hang out and play Magic if you want to. You better call them first, though. I'll give you that information. Hang on. They also host, easy for me to say, let's try again. They also host Dungeons & Dragons campaigns several times a week, located at 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia. Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop for you to get your nerd on. They open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. They don't close until the dice stop rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle, specializing in collectibles of all types, both vintage and modern. Table space available for Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, or any other tabletop game. You can even bring your own tabletop game and host your game night with us. They have older console games like the old-time Nintendo and Sega classics for your enjoyment, as well as 25 arcade cabinets with hundreds of your old-school favorites, all set to free play. Our Monday night D&D group has been running for over a year, and they welcome newcomers, both experienced and inexperienced. They host video game competitions like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, just to name a few. Something for the gamer and collector in us all. Call to make arrangements for your game night at, here's the number, check it out, 434-317-0121. I'll give it to you again, 434-317-0121, or shoot us an email with any questions at secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. That's secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Do not spell out the word second. Use the abbreviation 2ND. Secondhandheroes.va. secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. And again, let me give you that address. It's 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia. That's right outside Lynchburg. And we love Secondhand Heroes and are so grateful that they've come on board.
I think they're missing out on something up there.
What?
I think they need to have adult Chutes and Ladders or Hi-Ho Chariot.
I never played Hi-Ho Chariot.
I didn't either. But I like
an adult Chutes and Ladders competition, man.
There's a lot of cheating in those games too. So I do. I also wanted to. Okay, so I love Tease Treats. It's one of the best. I think not just at wrestling, but everywhere. She has ruined me for any other place I go. There was I'm not going to say where or the name or anything. This weekend, I went with my children to a local book store, and there was a little food truck thing out. They were selling slushies, coffee, and frappes. So I go up there. They had no ice. They had run out of ice. And so they were only selling hot coffee. And the girl's like, we've run out of ice. I'm sorry. And I'm like, why are you not prepared enough with your ice on a hot day? It was just, so now I'm spoiled. I'm just never going to I'm never going to try another food truck ever again now.
Well, just so you know, these treats will be at the Mount Airy show this weekend. And she has brought back red velvet.
Oh boy, Katie, bar the door.
But the red velvet Oreos and the red velvet funnel cakes was a huge hit at the Mayberry Truck Show this past weekend.
Well, that's good.
Were you there for the injury?
Yes. Well, I didn't see it, but I seen it. I seen him right before. Yeah. Right before. I mean, it must have been minutes before.
Well, y'all can't leave the audience hanging like that. Well, how did somebody get injured at the Mayberry Truck Show?
Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor of North. I'm not going to get into politics, just giving information. The lieutenant governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson, who is running for governor here in North Carolina, said his fans were getting in the way of him getting out of a truck, and he couldn't get his fans to move. And he touched a hot tailpipe and burned his.
I heard he'd been hospitalized, but we couldn't find any other details on it. That happened.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. He was seen at the ER at Northern. So, but don't touch a tailpipe. You should know better. As an adult, you should know better.
I think Mark already learned his lesson about touching tail, but evidently not. Yeah,
I will give him one defense. I will give him one defense for me being my third year with the truck show. There's a lot of times that they turn those trucks on and just let them sit there and idle, or they'll rev them up, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll turn them off and never move them.
So the exhaust is just sitting there.
You may or may not know if it had just been running or not. But I don't know about the whole fans thing.
Yeah, that's what he said in his statement, that there were so many fans and he was trying to not knock into them when he got out, that he touched a tailpipe. Maybe it's because I grew up around motorcycles. Like my daddy always had a motorcycle, and I just knew, running or not running, you don't touch the tailpipe. You don't touch the exhaust, no matter if it's been on or not.
That's right. And I know from working on cars, even when you put a regular car up on the lift, the one thing that is not safe to touch, there's nothing. You can work on a car, you can unscrew nuts and bolts everywhere you want, but that exhaust pipe all the way from one end to the other, you always acted as if that thing is boiling hot. But Mark Robinson doesn't strike me as the type of person who's ever actually done any fucking work in his life. I'm sorry, I should not do that. But anyway, I don't think he was
trying to be good,
aware of how dangerous an exhaust could be, especially in something that's been customized to maybe run louder or whatever. Because if something's sitting there going, that exhaust probably is a lot hotter than your normal, say, Matt's Chevrolet Impala out here. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, out of this whole story, the thing that amazed me the most was that he was allowed to get in one.
My amazement.
I wouldn't have wanted him.
There's trucks up there that's worth like $1 million, man.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have wanted him nowhere near.
I've seen inside them trucks. I wouldn't want a sitting president in one of them damn trucks.
No kidding. Oh shoot. I mean, I'm so peculiar about cars. I remember one time one of my fellow supervisors at StarTech brought a brand new Dodge Challenger. And she brought that thing to work, and she was like, hop on in there, Matt. You can take it for a test drive if you want to. Oh, no, ma'am. No. And that was just a factory-built Challenger. These custom jobs, like Rick Diesel said, over $1 million. No. Then we froze again. There we're back. We froze.
It had to have been a photo op. It had to have been a photo op.
Oh, yeah, it's politics. There was nothing genuine about it. But anyway,
he made it sound like it was a rally, not the truck show, a rally. But
it was a rally for trucks.
No, it was. Yeah, he was there at the Mayberry Truck Show because he visited the food truck that was sitting beside us.
Damn.
Well, he
Hey,
missed
you missed
out.
out on that, man, because you would have made.
Yeah, he missed it by that much, man. I'm telling you, he missed heaven by that much.
Yeah, I mean, you would have made a
That's
lot
not
of
what
money.
he's gonna. Never mind.
You would have made a lot of money on that transaction, I'm sure, but you know, you might have drew the ire of his political opponents, you know. So you can't win with politicians. Best thing to do is put up a sign that says all politicians, all parties stay away from this truck. You know, I mean, I don't know. That's
You
just
don't want to look like you're leaning one way or the other.
no. See,
Not a small business.
it's like you know, like Johnny Carson back in the day, he would never like lean or endorse. He would always make fun of both sides of politicians because he was always afraid that he'd lose half of his audience. And the landscape has changed now on TV, but like, I don't know about you, Rick Diesel, but I would try to avoid that with a regular day-to-day business, like the Black Death, man. Like, yeah.
In wrestling, I'll go with whichever way is the most controversial.
Yeah.
But in regular business, I don't tell nobody nothing.
Yeah,
I guess that goes back to our thing about business.
Right.
Oh my, what a day. This has been very strange.
See, once again, getting back to the documentary, even more than ever now, I think Vince is getting a raw deal.
He's getting something raw, all right.
I would listen. This is what got me is I didn't know the timelines of all the issues. So one of the issues was that there was already a payoff for something that happened in 2018, 2019, like around that time. Maybe it was 2021.
But before you get to
right?
Before you get too in depth in that,
I think.
Yes. Wait, what was that, Steve?
Before y'all get too in depth in that, when they were doing the interviews with Vince, did you see the utter look of fear on his face when they mentioned an affair with Sable?
Yes, I noticed that too.
He was acting like he didn't remember.
That was the weirdest thing. Like, I don't even really remember her coming through or her suit. I don't remember. I just remember she came back and worked for us or something. It was weird.
In his defense, he is older. His memory is probably not as sharp as it used to be.
How can you forget Sable?
I don't know.
You cannot. Sable, you might forget, and you might forget some woman or wrestler or whatever that just came in and out, but like not Sable. I mean,
I do remember the evil look I got during the documentary from Ginger when she had the nipple hands. They showed that. I was like, yes, there it is. And I was like, oh shit, she said right there.
And
he was able to forget her because the moment she married that vanilla gorilla,
he
was like, yep, nope, don't know nothing about her.
I just I don't know.
All right.
It's already late, so I don't know
how
far we want to get into this one yet. I just think you need to look at the fact that this lawsuit has been stopped so the FBI can find the evidence. So it can't just be a money grab. If it's a money grab, should just let it keep going.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think they're wasting a lot of resources on something they could probably just leave alone.
Well, I think that he's going to end up, maybe if all goes well, he'll end up right next to Puff Daddy in a jail cell up in New York somewhere.
So this is the thing.
He'll be dead by then.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a Joe Paterno type thing, I think. Yeah.
You can agree to disagree about their relationship. They did talk about the power dynamic. You cannot sleep with your boss. There's always a power dynamic in that. No, take that out of it. Whether or not you think it was consensual, whether or not you think she's trying to, he used money from his company to pay off women. And if you want to agree or disagree, that is the thing that is absolutely illegal.
Yeah, he should have used his own personal money, maybe not offered her as much. You know, using the money from the company was a little it was a tad over the line.
But I think he's screwed because they're coming after I mean, you saw how fast they got P. Diddy. They're coming after these people.
How fast they
And
got P. Diddy. It took
God
almost
almighty,
2
they got him.
years.
You know what's so funny? It's like, this is not wrestling related, but do you remember? I mean, it was just last year that Cat Williams was, you know, and everybody's like, oh,
Shay
he's just
Shay.
drunk and crazy talking and this, that, and
The
other.
Club
And
Shay Shay. Yeah.
I'll be damned. He was spitting the truth. I mean,
Well,
and it's just,
Nancy Grace played some Eminem lyrics the other night. I don't know how old they are, where he was talking about it too. And she was like, all the people in the hip hop community were aware of this. Why wasn't the rest of the world? And I was like, well, the hip hop community is very closed off. You know, that's been one of their things, you know, for years.
And yet in their own way, they tried to tell you.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber lyrics.
The thing about it too is they all keep it a secret until one of them spills it, and then they've got no choice but to just run with it and admit it and throw somebody under the bus.
Well, you know something? Dave Chappelle was trying to tell us about R. Kelly 21 years ago in 2003. He was doing,
and P. Diddy. He did there's also a sketch that he did about P. Diddy. It was like a reality show that he was doing, and it was like it's like, I only take the finest milk from a Cambodian, you know, like crazy stuff that, you know, he was doing in his sketch, and now everybody's like, he's trying to tell everybody because it's
1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah, boy. And I tell you what, old Farnsworth floating in on that umbrella like Mary Poppins sure makes you raise an eyebrow now. Looking back, you're like, boy, I missed those signs back then. Actually, no, I didn't. I thought it was weird back then, but it's just nice to know that what I thought back then has been confirmed now. So anyway, maybe we better have this conversation in the dressing room at the show.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones that's like, you know,
I'm gonna have to start using some sharp adjectives and adverbs to get my point across. It might be offensive to the mainstream audience.
And that's
not me. I sucked at English class. I just spit shit out.
There's some things that it's hard to discuss on a show like this because, you know, we try to do that line between, you know, reality and suspended disbelief with wrestling in the real world. And it's kind of hard to talk about these kinds of things on a show like this. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, we still find a way to get there.
We do.
Yeah, we do. And our people know they can read between the lines anyway. But anyway, hey, if you hadn't seen it yet, go on Netflix, check out the Vince McMahon documentary. It's 6 parts. It's very good. I can't recommend it enough. I will disagree with some of the panel people here and say, whether you're a hardcore wrestling fan or you're a casual viewer, I think a casual viewer will like it a little less than a hardcore wrestling fan. But I think if, say you like wrestling, but your wife doesn't, like she goes ahead and like goes in the other room and watches the other TV when you're watching wrestling, she'll probably sit down and watch this with you. Because I've noticed with my wife, if I'm watching a football game, she's not so interested in that. But if I'm watching a special about the player behind the scenes and his wife and their kids and their daily activity, like human interest type shit, she's into that. So that might help you with your significant other. You know, bring them into wrestling because it's very interesting and I can't recommend it. If nothing else, it's a great historical piece. So to kind of give you an idea of what wrestling you see on TV now, what it was like 40, 50 years ago and how it's evolved and what it is now. So can't recommend it enough. Good job, Netflix. Nice job.
Yeah. And it kind of gives you a perspective that Vince McMahon is just a business McMahon and he's not the monster everybody makes him out to be.
As far as promoter, yes. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to say anything.
All right. So
push the button, push the button, push the button.
Enjoy the button. But still, it is kind of funny that all this happened and Vince McMahon went from looking like Vince McMahon to Dick Dastardly. So, you know.
Yeah. My God, it's a freaking hair dye.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just
And
going
you
to
call
lean
his
into the
mustache
whole
a
bad
German.
guy thing.
Yeah, I know.
Grow a mustache.
like he's gonna
I
tie her up to
love
the
that and the
railroad tracks.
I think he
That-
sold
fact
stock in WWE and moved it over to a hair dye company.
that and every time Hogan made a Snidely Whiplash comment, it's like, oh look, there he is.
Yeah. Oh mercy. But anyway, yeah. So if you don't know who Dick Dastardly is, look it up, kids. It'll make you laugh.
He was a Dudley. He was Big Dick Dastardly.
Does that make Shane Muttley?
Can anybody do the
laugh
Muttley?
now.
I can't do the Muttley laugh. Can anybody do it?
No,
Isn't that
not
it?
on.
It's hard.
Enough, is it?
Kind of a wheezy kind
Yeah,
of sound. Yeah.
It's a wheezy Barney Rubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a wheezy Barney Rubble. That's it. Sorry, we're losing anybody under 30 right now. They're like, what the fuck? As if they're here this long anyway. But for those of you who are,
AC's in here, we're good.
thank you for AC's in there. I saw the comments. Oh, and I want to say shout out to one of those guys in there if I that I didn't recognize. It was a new name. And I've lost my spot. Has anybody got the chat up? It was somebody with the name started with an M.
I closed it by accident.
See, we all did. Anyway, you know who you are out there, brother. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you dropping a comment in there.
And it's okay. It's late. You can watch it in segments throughout the week.
Mary Hudson?
No, it was a dude's
somebody
name.
popped up?
It was a dude's name.
Oh, why is it not? Oh, no, I can't find it.
That
Sorry.
Mickey was in there, but
No, it wasn't him. But anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. We'll be back here.
I'm usually better. Something's wrong with me. Maybe I need to take a day off.
Yeah, all things considered, we will be back here hopefully next
cattle
week.
froze.
Yeah, next week. And just warn you, if I'm a dick to you this week, whether it be in real life or in wrestling, I don't mean to. I'm going through a rough spell, so please bear with me. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And until next time, so long for now.